A study by the Texas Policy Evaluation Project looked into the new restrictions on abortion clinics in Texas to see what kind of impact it's having on women in the state. And the results of their study are devastating, to say the least. Right now, they're estimating that at least 100,000 women in Texas have somehow attempted to self-induce an abortion. Now, one of the reasons why that happens is because right now, in the huge state of Texas, there are only about 9 abortion clinics open. I'm sorry, there are 17 abortion clinics open. If the Supreme Court rules that their recent restrictions on these abortion clinics are constitutional or legal, then there will only be 9 abortion clinics in the state. Now, people have to drive about an average of 111 miles in order to get to the nearest abortion clinic in the state of Texas, which can kind of explain to you why women would take it upon themselves to self-induce, okay? It takes considerable resources in order to get to these clinics.
It's expensive.
And it's expensive, exactly. So let me give you some more details. According to this study, 22% of the female survey respondents said that either they or someone they know has terminated or attempted to terminate a pregnancy on their own outside of a clinical care setting. Now, self-induced abortion by medication was the most commonly reported method among respondents. Other methods reported include the use of herbs or alternative medicine, use of alcohol or illicit drugs, getting hit or punched in the abdomen, and the use of hormonal pills. Now, I gotta be honest with you guys, the results of this study are not surprising at all. I knew that this would happen. The more difficult you make it for women to access a clinic, the more likely they are to take it upon themselves to self-induce.
So Anna, when they were debating this bill, remember there was that massive filibuster. Why didn't we predict that more women would do this sort of thing or be forced into back alley sort of situations? Why didn't anybody on this show predict it at the time?
I know, it's
In
weird.
hindsight, it seems so clear.
Exactly.
Of course, things are going to go back to what they were like before it was legal, now that it's also becoming quasi-illegal again.
And there's so many examples of this globally where, like, in one of the recent World Health Organization studies, they said that unsafe abortions lead to 69,000 deaths annually and millions more injured within the process, right?
Jesus.
And 73% of that could be completely prevented without any changes to legislation, with just more widespread family planning, modern family planning and maternal health services widely available.
Haas. I like when Haas does extra research. It's so cute.
Oh my God.
No, it's good. It's good. You're absolutely right. I mean, this is a worldwide problem, especially in a lot of Latin American countries, a lot of, Muslim countries,
Or
obviously.
Ireland, which is
Yeah.
my favorite. I think it's so ridiculous. Like
For much the same reason, of course.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
well, they
completely
have-
illegal.
It
Yeah.
is completely illegal, and that's because of the Catholic influence in the country.
Yeah.
So in all these countries that have restrictive access to abortion or family planning, it's usually because of religion playing a huge role in the laws that get passed.
And here's apparently, these are just truths about humanity. There are certain things that you can, and everybody does, try to control by outlawing it, that people will not be controlled on. Prostitution, drug and alcohol use, abortions. There might be one other, but those are things that you can ban them if you want.
Video
but
games.
Video games too, that's the new one. That's the newest one by a few thousand years.
Sorry.
That you cannot ban. And so because people will try to do those things regardless, and it will likely be more dangerous than it would be if it was legal. Like, for instance, illegal prostitution leads to pimping and that sort of thing, sexual slavery. Illegal drugs and alcohol lead to cartels and moonshine and things like that. You make these things illegal, you make them more dangerous. So instead, you just need to pass laws that help to control them, to regulate them, because you know that regardless of whether they're legally available, they are available and they will be used.
Absolutely.
I think we should also mention that this study is kind of a little ridiculous, though. They call it the first of a kind study, but it is there's a lot of like surveying people within the study. Like, have you heard, or have you or anyone you know experienced like a back alley abortion, which I think could lead to some interesting results. But like I mentioned before, there are examples throughout the world where you can clearly see, and in America as well, where you can clearly see when abortion is made illegal, it leads to more devastating results
Yeah,
for
so
women
you're
in general.
saying that, these results aren't that surprising, and that's why the study
It's
is
not surprising.
The methodology,
but the
I think, is a bit
methodology is
suspect,
a
but-
little bit suspect.
And by the way, I do want to talk about the methodology just very quickly. So 1.7% of the women, remember this is based on self-reporting, said that they had themselves tried to self-induce. 4.1% said that their friend did it or they heard of someone who had done it,
Yeah.
right? So right there, the methodology is a little shaky, and I think that's the reason why there's a huge disparity between the two numbers that this organization has given us, between 100,000 to, I think, 240,000 women in the state of Texas have tried to self-induce. Huge disparity there, but it's important to mention the flaws in the methodology.
And tragic either way.
Tragic either way, exactly.